Hi, this is Galit Goldfarb. Thank you very much for joining me here today. Today I'm going to be talking about supporting the immune system with diet and supplements. Our immune system is merged throughout our body and is there to protect us against infections and other internal and external assaults and threats. The immune system uses two types of defense mechanisms against threats to our body: an innate defense mechanism and an adaptive defense mechanism. Each defends against a threat to the body in a different way. The innate immune defense mechanism protects against anything foreign in a fast way. This defense mechanism fights off pathogens before they can even start an active infection. And to do this, the immune system uses physical protective barriers throughout our body, including the skin and the epithelial lining of the gastrointestinal and respiratory tracts. Basically, they form a border to prevent an assault from the outside or from one organ to another organ. Secretions as well. They use also secretions, mucus, and gastric acid to form biochemical barriers. And also, this innate defense mechanism uses non-specific immune cells, including monocytes, neutrophils, natural killer cells, and antibodies. These non-specific immune cells fight off anything that is foreign to the body. Now, if the threat manages to avoid these innate defenses, then a more complex, adaptive, antigen-specific immune response is triggered. This adaptive immune defense mechanism is a precise and highly specific mechanism that protects the body by identifying pathogens and differences in molecular structures throughout the body. Although it is highly specific, this immune response is slow to react and it is activated by first exposure to the pathogen. This immune defense mechanism helps reduce the severity of the threat. Now, this adaptive immune defense mechanism uses T cells that mature in the thymus. That's why they're called T cells, and they form cell-mediated immunity. And also B cells that develop in the bone marrow, and that's why they're called B cells, and they form antibodies which bind to antigens on the pathogen and destroy them. This is called antibody-mediated immunity. Now, all defense mechanisms of the immune system also protect against non-foreign native cells that may become harmful, such as cancer or precancerous cells. Now, all parts of the immune system work together to protect the body against pathogens and threats. And as we age, the immune system evolves from the immature and developing immune responses in infants and children to a potentially optimal functioning immune system in adolescents and young adults. And as we age further, there is a gradual decline in immune function that can be compounded by certain lifestyle choices, including the diet, environment, and oxidative stress levels. Now, optimal immune function is dependent on a healthy immune system, and a healthy immune system requires proper nutrition to ensure that the supply of nutrients for the development, maintenance, and expression of the immune response are always optimal and always available. Now, the immune response will be inadequate when nutrition is substandard. When the immune system is not healthy, people will suffer from more infections, and the severity of infections will also be higher, and they will suffer also from more disease states overall. Now, infections and disease will in turn lead to poor nutritional status, which in turn will lead to poor immune health, and so a downward spiral of health begins. And it all starts with the nutritional status of the person and their environment and the levels of exposure to oxidative stress. Now, unfortunately, nutritional deficiencies and suboptimal nutrient intake is common all over the world. It is possible to add foods rich in deficient nutrients regularly into the diet. But studies prove that this is not always possible to achieve good nutritional status via a change in diet alone. Adequate and varied food supply is necessary for this, but it is not always an option in different parts of the world and in different economic states. Now, even in industrialized countries, there are social, economic, educational, and ethnic and cultural backgrounds that influence a person's dietary choices, as we all know. Even if a healthy, varied diet can be physically attained in industrialized countries, people do not always opt for this. Therefore, tailored supplementation in restoring deficient nutrients helps support the immune function to function at its best. Now, here is a list of 12 recommended nutrients that support the immune system. The first one is vitamin A. Vitamin A helps support the health of mucosal cells that form part of the immune system's innate barrier defense mechanisms that I spoke about. It is also essential for the functioning of innate immune cells that are nonspecific, as we said, like macrophages and neutrophils. Low levels of vitamin A will also lead to a reduction in innate immune cells and their killing activity, as well as increased susceptibility to infections. Now, the top food sources of vitamin A in its provitamins beta-carotene will include broccoli, carrots, cantaloupe, and squash. Now, these are very rich in the provitamin A, which is beta-carotene. Okay, so the next vitamin is vitamin B6, which helps regulate inflammation and has roles in innate immune cell production and activity. Low levels of vitamin B6 will lead to low levels of lymphocytes, which are the white blood cells, very important to cell-mediated immunity and antibody response. Now, the top food sources of vitamin B6 include potatoes, peanuts, soybeans, oats, and bananas. The next vitamin is vitamin B12, which has roles in innate immune cell function as well. Now, low levels of vitamin B12 will lead to a slow adaptive immune response, meaning a slow, delayed response to allergies and also delayed T cell production in the thymus. Now, the top food sources of vitamin B12 include animal products, as vitamin B12 comes from bacteria, and these are found in animal products. However, if you are a vegan or a vegetarian, then you would like to supplement your diet to make sure that you get sufficient levels of this nutrient in the form of methylcobalamin. Now, the next vitamin is vitamin C. It protects against free radical damage produced by the pathogens that are killed by our immune cells. Vitamin C also helps regenerate other important antioxidants such as glutathione and vitamin E into their active state. And since vitamin C also supports collagen production, it thereby supports the integrity of epithelial barriers and the skin as one of them, as part of the innate defense mechanisms. Now, vitamin C also stimulates the production and function and movement of innate immune cells, the innate defense mechanism immune cells. Now, low levels of vitamin C will lead to increased oxidative damage, increased risk of infection, and increased severity of disease, and also decreased protection against allergies, wound healing, and even cancer. And the top food sources of vitamin C include citrus fruits, red peppers, berries, broccoli, potatoes, and Brussels sprouts. Now, the next nutrient is vitamin D. This stimulates immune cell production and proliferation and helps protect against infections with antimicrobial proteins, which can directly kill pathogens. This is why vitamin D is so important. Low levels of vitamin D will lead to increased susceptibility and severity of infections, especially respiratory tract infections, and increased risk of autoimmune diseases like type 1 diabetes, multiple sclerosis, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, and overall mortality as well. The best vitamin D source is through skin exposure to the UVB rays of the sun at peak sunshine hours. Certainly in the summertime you can achieve this, your required levels of vitamin D, but in the winter, supplementation is probably recommended with 2,000 international units of vitamin D daily. Okay, so the next nutrient that supports the functioning of a healthy immune system is vitamin E. It's a crucial fat-soluble antioxidant vitamin that protects the cell membranes from free radical damage. Low levels of vitamin E are relatively rare, but they will lead to impaired immune function. The top sources of vitamin E on a plant-based diet include seeds, wheat germ, nuts, beets, red pepper, and spinach. The next nutrient is folate. Folate maintains innate immunity. Low levels of folate will lead to a depressed adaptive immune system and with delayed response to allergies and to infections, and will also affect the innate immune system. Now, the top food sources of folate include all legumes and foods from the broccoli family and leafy green vegetables. The next nutrient is iron. It's involved in the process of killing bacteria through the generation of free radicals that kill pathogens. Low levels of iron will lead to insufficient immune response, and also it will lead to a depressed immune state through anemia. Now, the top food sources of iron on a plant-based diet include spinach, legumes, seeds, and quinoa. The next nutrient is selenium. It's essential for the function of selenium-dependent enzymes that can act as antioxidants, counteracting free radicals. Low levels of selenium will lead to lowered immune function and higher susceptibility to viruses, increased cancer rates, and with low chronic deficiency, also to cardiomyopathy, which is a chronic disease of the heart muscle. And in infants, also, vitamin E deficiency will cause respiratory infections. The top food source of selenium on a plant-based diet is Brazil nuts, and also foods that are grown in soils that are rich in selenium, which most often include broccoli, garlic, and onions. The next nutrient is zinc. This is the last nutrient. It is an antioxidant mineral that protects against free radical damage, and it increases adaptive immune cell production and maintains skin and mucosal membrane health. So it is very active in the innate immune system, innate defense mechanisms of the immune system. Now, low levels of zinc will lead to low lymphocyte number and function, particularly T cell numbers and function, and also it contributes to oxidative stress and inflammation and increased infections and respiratory disease and even death. This is a very, very important nutrient for the health of the immune system. The top food sources of zinc include whole grains, legumes, and nuts. Now, also there is you want to consume sufficient levels of protein. It's a very important building block for antibodies and immune cells, and it supports wound healing. The top food sources of protein on a plant-based diet include all legumes, whole grains, seeds, and nuts. Also, green leafy vegetables are very rich in protein, as well as broccoli. Now, you also want to consume probiotics, but especially when you have any sort of imbalance in your gut microbiome, your immune system will be affected by this, especially since your digestive system can't extract all of the necessary nutrients from all the different types of foods that you consume that are required for the proper functioning of the immune system. Now, therefore, probiotics can enhance immune function, but these should not be taken when the immune system is very fragile or when a person is suffering from specific cancers. Now, it is important to note that supplementation recommendations are different for each life stage that the person is in. And nutritional needs differ between infants and small children and adolescents and adults and the elderly and pregnant and lactating women, as well as people that are suffering from disease states. So, because the immune system undergoes many changes throughout our different life stages. Therefore, a specifically tailored supplementation program based on each age group's specific needs and condition is essential in allowing optimal immune function at any age and reducing the risk and severity of infections and supporting a quicker recovery from many disease states. So, although you do want to aim to go and get all of your nutrients from foods, you may, in certain times of your life, need supplementation to support your immune system and your body. So I hope you found this video valuable. I hope you liked it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Please also subscribe to my channel and ring the notifications bell to get notified every time I upload a new video. And also please visit my website, The Gorilla Diet, to get information and everything to help you move your health and wellness to a better place for you. Thank you very much for joining.